Hello, Maverick traders. Welcome out to your currency recap for October 7th. Corey here with you. We're always going to take a look at meaningful news. There's certainly been a shift in the markets. We'll talk about that. And we'll talk about the best setups in crypto and Forex currency pairs.
Disclaimer. This video was created for professional Forex and crypto traders. Maverick Currencies is a proprietary trading firm that employs professional traders around the world. Our traders trade firm capital and keep 70 to 80% of profits they generate. All trades and analysis in this video are for professional traders only. If you are interested in becoming a professional Forex and currency trader for Maverick, click the apply button in the video description. Let's break down what happened today.
So today was kind of interesting in that it was more of the same of what we've been seeing lately, which is this oil price spike. And oil is up another 3% today. Markets are anticipating an Israel strike on Iran, retaliation and so forth. And where there's smoke, there's fire. I mean, the oil markets have been a rocket ship to the upside. Hurricane Milton is barreling forward towards Florida. This is on the back of Helene that just came through and created some devastation. So not great timing, of course, and markets anticipating that. I mean, you saw big reactions in stocks today. Generator stocks up sharply, insurance stocks down sharply. So getting ugly in terms of hurricane season. Now, if we look at currencies, there wasn't a ton going on, but certainly a shift has taken place where you have more of a risk-off mode, where you have Japanese yen, US dollar, Swiss franc on the upside. You have CAD, Aussie, Kiwi more on the downside. And here's why I think this makes sense. From last Friday's jobs number, you have to anticipate with a big jobs beat, with some of the things that we're seeing in the bond market. Right now, interest rates are spiking sharply higher. Why does that make sense when the Fed's cutting rates? Well, the markets got a little ahead of themselves, I would say. Just a week ago, they were already pricing in another 50 basis point cut, and that has changed dramatically from one week to the next. Now, markets are saying, well, maybe they'll only cut 25, maybe they won't cut at all. And the US dollar is now shifting. Now, where is the truth? It's probably in the middle. It's probably neither of the extremes. But we got a little carried away, I would say, in markets in anticipating aggressive cuts. And this brings us a little bit more back to reality. So as we look at price action, S&P was down about 1%, certainly risk off, but oil up sharply. And if oil continues on its trajectory to the upside, of course, that can hamper economic activity. Fewer dollars spent at the gas pump leaves you more spending. If oil goes up dramatically, you're spending more at the gas tank. That leaves fewer dollars for spending in other areas. So as we look at crypto, Litecoin was the underperformer and the outsized move. All the other cryptos were basically flat, but Litecoin down sharply, down 2.7. Equity markets are still up, so you'd still say this is an upward trend. Even with today's bad price action, we're high basing. If we plunge to the downside, that would change things, but for now, this is just a nice consolidation. And again, I wouldn't make too much of it right here, right now. We're still more bullish in stocks until proven otherwise. Now, if we look at what's on tap, we've got the RBNZ on Tuesday night. We've got FOMC meeting minutes on Wednesday. We've got CPI data out on Thursday. And then employment for Canada out on Friday. So this CPI, if it comes in hotter than expected, that would be a real shock to the markets. The expectations are for minimal 0.1 month over month CPI. We certainly don't want to see that spiking back up. If that came in at 0.2, 0.3, I think the markets would have a big reaction. I think the US dollar would sharply spike higher if it came in hotter than expected. I don't necessarily see why that would happen, but just be aware of the ramifications. Now, if we look at velocity, I mean, we could probably put Litecoin right in here in the -1 category, but other than that, I would say this is just kind of no velocity, not much happening overall. But notice US dollar and Swiss franc more on the strong side, Aussie and Kiwi more on the weak side. So that those would be your currency pairs. Shorting Aussie and Kiwi, buying US dollars or Swiss francs on the other side of that. So let's look at some of those possible trades and the velocity behind them. So here's the US dollar. Obviously, upward trending RSI, upward sloping moving averages, high basing up here. US dollar acts like it wants to continue to the upside, and that's just the price action. That's what's been happening. Now, does it feel like it's a little bit late in the game? I mean, obviously, we had the same type of buy setups back here when it was just breaking out. So here you had same type of upward slope and velocity. That's a more ideal setup. But having said that, you consolidate here for a while, high base, and then break out again. Still a decent setup, still more upside to be expected. If we look at, again, the Swiss franc, here you have the breakout to new highs, you got the upward slope, you got the upward trend. I mean, all the characteristics for more upside in the Swiss franc. Now, if we look at the bearish components, Aussie, notice the downward trend, the downward slopes. We're still above some support levels and so on, but the general direction is lower. I actually like Kiwi a little bit better on the short side because we've already taken out prior lows. We're in a much more obvious downtrend, downward slope and downward trend. So Kiwi would be my first choice on the short side. Aussie would be, we'll call it 1A and 1B. Kiwi a little bit better, a little bit more relative weakness, a little bit better characteristics on the downside. So mostly flat in the markets. We've certainly seen a little bit of a risk off switch where US dollar and Swiss franc are trending higher. Aussie and Kiwi are trending lower. As always, pick your spots, find the best setups, make sure your risk reward probability hits the mark, and if it does, that's where there's some momentum. Hope you enjoyed the currency recap. Have a great week, everyone. We'll see you next time.